Merhabalar, Dips and Friends kanalımıza hoş geldiniz. Bugün aramızda Romain Narcy var, onunla sohbet ediyor olacağız ve bugünkü programımıza İngilizce devam edeceğiz.
Hello. So we're going to talk about circularity today, and we have Romain Narcy. He's full of projects and ideas and visions. That's why we would like him to explain himself. But he's always a joy to be around, always a true doer. So that's why we wanted to have you in this episode.
Thank you. Actually, you should ask my wife if I'm always a joy to be around. She may have a different opinion, but generally speaking, I hope so. I was born in France, in a small town in the middle of France, famous for its goat's cheese and white wine.
It's nothing to do with textiles.
Nothing to do with textile. My father and mother had a shop. They were selling bikes and motorcycle, and that in France. It was created by my grandfather in 1922. So we were really locals. But I always wanted to travel the world from a young age. So all my studies, I studied business management, and I always looked for opportunities to travel. So what to do to travel, and that brought me to as a young age to learn English, of course, to the UK, Ireland, but also during my higher education to Sweden as an Erasmus student, and to California. And when I was in California, I was in the Sonoma Valley next to San Francisco, and I discovered the wine industry, because I was working for a company making wine barrels. And here I saw the passion that people had to make wine and to choose the wood for the barrels, to make the barrels, etc. And that's really inspired me. And I told myself I would really like to do a job where I have a passion for the product. So after my long internship, 6 months in California, I went back and I had to do a civil service to replace the army. In France, it was compulsory at that time. And that's how I came to Turkey in 1997 for a big French multinational called Sodexo. Nothing to do with passion. It was a food voucher. And a food voucher to eat at lunch, so it's a perk for employees. But it gave me the opportunity to travel to Turkey for a year and then go to India for 3 years for Sodexo. And after 3 years, I'd met my future wife in Turkey, so I wanted to be with her. And also I wanted to find passion in the product. So that's how I came back to Turkey, and my father-in-law, he has a company in garment making and invited me to join them. He had a double target. One was to, of course, increase the export, and the other one was to keep his daughter next to him. So if he offered me a job, she would stay here.
So that's where the journey started.
Yes, that's where my journey started. And I became in love with denim as well. That's how I had the passion at first for the product itself. Because as we see on the blankets behind us, you can completely interpret the product based on the wash, the style of the garments, etc. You also have all the story, like what you are wearing on you, of where the garment is coming from, what was the original source of inspiration. Can be a Levi's from the 19th century or an army garment from the 50s or the 30s or whatever. So we have a very broad source of inspiration from fashion, and it is combined with playground you have with the denim fabric. So I really had a lot of fun learning all about denim, about the history of denim, about the washing techniques, etc. Till a point where you realize that, yes, it's great, it's fashionable, it's fun products, but then you realize that you have an impact on the environment while producing, especially. So at that time, the realization I had was more on the impact of production, the environmental impact of production. And that led me to be interested in sustainable production for denim and garment dye, let's say. And then from there, for about 15 years, I really went deep into that field for our own company, Ereks Blue-Matters'ın. And while on that journey, you become more conscious. I mean, that happened to me. And then you realize that the impact on the environment is during production, but also at the end of life. What do you do with the product at its end of life? And that led me to be interested in circularity, to find solutions. What could be solutions for this amount of waste that is generated? And for me, the acceleration came during COVID, because I think a turning point for me was the report by the Ellen MacArthur Foundation in 2017 saying that one truck full of discarded textile go to waste every second. But I was very much busy with my daily job at that time of producing jeans. And I had this figure in my brain, but I never took time to reflect on it till the pandemic, till the lockdown, where we were at home with my partner in life and at work, AJ. And that's where I told AJ, you know, this pandemic is a signal from the planet saying that, hey, where are you going? You are going to hit the wall? Are you still going to think in a linear way and hit that wall as fast as possible? Or are you going to rethink the way you do things? And for me, rethink the way you do things brought me to be interested by circular denim or circularity in the textile industry, because that's where I come from. That's where I've learned 20 years of experience. I've gained experience in production from fiber, so cotton in that case, to a finished garment. So I know all these steps.
It just like resonates right now with, you know, what you're saying, that you bring so much of your even personal growth journey into your work. That's something like I'm hearing, you know, how you're expressing it. And earlier we were trying to kind of discuss with Gülfem as to how we would like define Romain. Mm-hmm. And we were talking about, you know, connections, connecting with the people, the network. But I also now hear that it's a personal journey as well as like an outward journey as well. That's great to hear, actually.
I always see you as like you have this future-focused mindset. So you always in search for projects that you can actually do and execute and deliver. But what are you up to these days? Because I know you have some exciting.
Yes, so what I'm up to is I'm still a partner at our family business, where I'm in charge of innovation and strategy. With our family business, we have been expanding our market because we were mostly in Europe. So we expanded to India and subcontinents, and also most recently and very successfully to the US. So that's something we are actively doing. We are also, about 3 years ago, we started to do on-demand manufacturing. So really produce based on an order that has been sold to a final client, and it's custom-made garments made on demand. So we do one piece for everyone, one piece for Gülfem. So it's very different from bulk production, where we are used to do 1,000, 10,000, 100,000 pieces of garments. We established a separate organization within our company to be able to manage.
Which is really hard in text.
Yeah, so it's like tailor-made, but in an industrial way. So that was a project I had managed, because the idea was, again, to bring value back to the product. Because we feel we lost so much of the value of the product. Garment is now a commodity. We produce 100 billion garments for 8 billion people on this planet. It's insane. So there is no value into it. You are on your app on this famous Shein or Shine and Temu, and you just order as much as you want. T-shirts of old colors, pants of old colors. But people are disconnected to the reality of production, the impact of production. And that's why it's very admirable what you are doing here today, is to try to reconnect also people from manufacturing.
Yeah.
So as I said, with our family business, innovation strategy is still under my guidance. In 2023, we established a new company called Matters, where we are leveraging our experience in textile industry to accelerate and scale up recycling in textile. So we are 5 in the company, and we are across all industries. So we can advise companies to recycle socks, mattresses, home textile, and fashion, of course. So we are based in Turkey, but our team is from textile or from chemical engineering. So very technical people, experienced in textile. And we have clients in Europe, but also in Africa. We had one project in Benin, one in Ghana, now one in Kenya, and some in Switzerland and other European countries. So we try to push for transformation and for impact. That's drive me. I think it's to have an impact, a positive impact, with the maturity I gain and the level of consciousness. That's my driver. Is impact, positive impact. Last but not least, my third main activity is around the Denim Deal, which is a foundation that started in 2020. And when I was at home rethinking of what to do and want to be active, initiative. I called my friend James Van Hoff from Denim City, House of Denim Foundation in Amsterdam. And I say, hey, James, I'd like to do something about textile recycling. Do you have any idea who I should contact? And he said, you know what? We are about to start a foundation. Why don't you join? So I joined as a member. And then from there, I became more and more involved till I became part of the steering committee of the denim deal. And this 3 years project that was financed by the Dutch Ministry of Environment finished at the end of 23, but we wanted to go on because we had a very good momentum. We made 12 million pair of jeans with 20% post-consumer recycled cotton in it. So we say with Nicolas Prof, my colleague, hey, let's continue that initiative. And we established a foundation in the Netherlands in 2024. And today we have about over 50 members from 10 different countries. And yeah, I think impact drives me, but also the connection with people willing to change. And that's what I love in the denim deal is that we have these people from Pakistan, from Turkey, Tunisia, but also UK, Spain, France, everywhere. But what brings us together is to have a positive impact and to make change in the industry. But I think the denim industry, we are more conscious than some other industries about the need to change, because I think it's come from the fact that we use a natural fiber and we were always conscious about the water we were using. So sustainability has been in our DNA now for decades, I would say. So I think now the transformation, what is the next thing is circularity in denim.
So while we're talking about denim, I wanted to ask you, what's one thing you learned from seeing denim come full circle?
I think what I learned is that we can inspire other industry also by doing a full circular denim production. So that's what we are looking to do at the Denim Deal Foundation, is to inspire also outerwear or socks or whatever home textiles. So to make it possible to make a full circular product.
Yeah. So in that sense, when we define circularity, would you say a piece of clothing ever dies, or a pair of jeans ever die, or it doesn't die? How would you define it?
For me, if we design it with intention, it's not dying. It's possible to recover it, to recycle it. In the worst case scenario, to degrade it, biodegradable. But in the denim, we have mostly natural fibers, so that's the chance compared to sportswear where they're mostly using polyester-based fabrics or contents, which is not biodegradable today. So that's the good part. But again, what is worrying me is overproduction linked to overconsumption, because we completely lost touch with the impact of production.
But again, I hear you saying that if we choose, then a pair of jeans or a piece of clothing doesn't necessarily need to die.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what's the most meaningful transformation of a jean or like something you own, you've seen from old to new?
I think for me, the most meaningful, again, because I see scale as a key factor. Of course, you can be inspired by small actions, but it has to scalability and impact are leading. So my thinking process, and that's why the first denim deal, the achievement of having produced 12 million pair of jeans with 20% post-consumer recycled cotton is what really showed me that there is a way to have change in our industry.
For me, for example, it was like in our industry, if we exclude end consumers, it was the designers' transformation, because they are really trying to design the waste out of their systems, of the production, right? Do you see that kind of?
With our clients at Ereks Blue-Matters'ın, I don't really see designers that are conscious designers. Most of the brands are not conscious.
I think there's a lot to learn from waste itself. So I think we should start with that. How do we really learn from waste as to how to design it? And what intrigues me the most was actually looking into the market in Ghana, Kantamanto. I think out of that whole waste, some of the local designers are coming with such creative ideas, and it was like, you can find it on Instagram actually, and it's like as if it's like a very sophisticated brand expressing itself. So I think we should really kind of start learning from the waste, which, you know, I think if you would agree, we're like in the early stages of like that experiment actually.
We take the same example. Also, we also try now from Katamon to market, and the Or Foundation is doing a fantastic job around that, is to also show that upcycled garments from waste make their way back to Europe. And I really like this idea. Is not ending as a low value product in
That's important.
in Katamanto market or on the beach of Ghana, but it can be brought back as an upcycled garment with a value, or in something we are working on is to create from waste textile ending up in Ghana, transform them into a new yarn, and that would be also exported back to European countries. So in a way, it's sending back your waste, but as a product with a value. Something we see is that the waste colonialism is happening. So the waste from USA and Europe are ending up in Asia or in Africa.
So if we go deeper into more personal, Romain, so I want to ask you, what's the personal item you wish you could recycle or reincarnate?
For me, it was, I would love to keep that piece as much as possible. It's a piece that actually you guys developed when you worked at Ortağı, where we had a natural selvage fabric. So selvage fabric are the original wick of the denim fabric. So they were woven on on narrow weaving machines. So you keep the sides of the fabric to finish the garment on the side seams. And at that time, Blue-Matters'ın was a brand that AJ and I started in 2015. It came at a time where Ortağı developed this fabric in Muldan with some local weavers. And I like the value it was representing also. So it was the history of denim, because it was a selvage, which is the original width of a denim fabric, produced by local craftsmen in Turkey, local weavers, with a look of a vintage product.
That was a very creative space. So I wanted to like pick your mind on one thing, like what's the most creative repair or reuse idea you've seen? Because I think when we try to, again, design with what already exists, we have to go more creative. Like we have to think beyond the box, because it's not just taking one template that works for everybody, but it's like, how do we really put together something more creative?
I have two ideas. One is an exhibition that inspired me a lot, maybe 10 years ago, more or less. It was in Paris. They brought kimonos from Japan. These kimonos from the 19th century, they were all mended.
No.
And the story was that the fishermen were very poor on the coast, so they were getting these old kimonos from wealthy family from big cities, but they had holes in it, and they had nothing else, the fisherman family. So they were taking these kimonos, and with the small pieces of fabric they were getting, they were mending these pieces, and they were beautiful. It was, and you see the value you give to the product. It keeps a very high value. Because
Was it Boro?
Boro is the sewing technique. Yes, it was.
It's really important.
Yes, it was beautiful because you could feel the story through the pieces and the respect they had for the garment. So that would be one. More on a contemporary note, I think, and we from the denim industry were all inspired by this British artist, Ian Berry. He's taking all these pieces of old jeans to make beautiful art pieces. Yeah. Again, with all the shades of blue that we've seen in our life of around the denim, indigo heads.
Yeah, and we were lucky to have him actually exhibit in Istanbul.
Yes.
So, Romain, how do you feel about letting go of your old jeans, if they ever age?
Recently, I mean, the last, I don't know, at least maybe 10 years, if I buy a raw denim. I don't buy any washed denim anymore. Because for me, it's completely... washing is actually should be forbidden. You should not wash denim. It should be, because it's quite recent. It started in the 1980s actually that we started to wash, because till then, either you were buying a raw garments or you were buying a vintage garment. But vintage garments were selling so well that they had to produce new vintage garment, and that's how we created wash with an incredible impact on the environment. And today we were at our company when 2 years ago we started to say, let's not use stones anymore. We saved about 1,000 tons of sludge per year just at our scale. So if you imagine the big player in Bangladesh, Pakistan, it's millions of tons of stone that are being transformed into waste. So I think, yes, for me, unwashed garments, and these garments, you can keep them, I will keep them till I die, I think.
So he will never let go.
Actually, now I don't have any washed jeans because I let them go, and I usually give them away to people that may be in need of it. Yes, as you're right, I don't give too much because the new denims are raw and will age with time. So
I think, like, again, the whole process of washing jeans emerged because of a need we had, kind of like a nostalgia we had for the better times. Yeah. Recall if denim. Yeah. So that kind of like introduces, I think, a dilemma in itself.
And we know, we say the godfather of denim are Adriano Goldschmidt or François Girbaud. And François Girbaud, I had a discussion with him a couple of years ago. I made a documentary for French TV, and he was also invited. And he feels so much guilt because he created a monster of stone, of permanganate, hypochlorite that are used at scale globally. And of course, when they start developing in Italy for Adriano, in France for François Girbaud, they were not thinking the monster they were creating. They had no idea that it would spread like a wildfire.
I think on River Blue, he was
also speaking about
it's a really good documentary.
Yes.
Blue.
Yeah.
So I have a more positive question, and I want to hear your hopes and dreams about it. So what would a circular denim utopia look like for you?
So a circular denim would be done with respect for the whole value chain. So from the farmers to the garment workers, where we keep his next life in mind. And maybe my next denim also would not be with indigo, actually. Would be with cotton, but would be printed with digital printed solutions with low impact on the environment.
And I want to ask this question to also Ebru, because she is a true dreamer and she has those projects and visionary ideas. So,
well, it's like, again, bringing the value back into what we have already produced. So kind of like I would imagine hackathons where not just creating something new with new materials, but instead creating the best with already existing materials would be something valued even more. And we've seen some great examples of collaborations with even brands who are in competition with one another, like, even Lee and H&M, where they've done amazing, collaborations on their archive and bringing them into their stores, actually. Even Diesel recently did a new collaboration again with Lee. So those kind of thinking out of the box solutions, I would love to run hackathons on that, actually. Some people think that circularity is too hard. We don't want to go there. It's easier to buy something new, and I don't want to think about the circularity of the product. What would your advice be for them?
That we have to take it one stitch at a time. Actually, I started in 2012, I think, starting with the first project with the Netherlands called the Denim Alliance, where we started to think how to use recycled content. We also worked with a French brand at that time, Bonobo, where I imported the yarn from France, recycled yarn. Maybe I'm too much into it, but I don't think any issues. I think also what is very important to drive transition to circularity is regulation. So we discussed earlier about eco-design, circular design. ESPR is coming, so they will have to design bearing in mind recycling, but also bearing in mind durability. And so maybe I have a hope that the wash will have to change because durability will have to increase. Because also when we overwash a denim, we reduce its durability because the fabric get tired. So yeah, circularity has many aspects, and I think regulation is here to give the direction. For me, the industry is ready to change. If there is a demand for recycled content, it will be done, because if industry needs visibility, that's the biggest challenge today, is that even for normal production, we have no visibility. You know, we have as a garment manufacturer, we have a 3 months visibility only. There is not much commitment from brands. So regulation, commitments, and that's visible.
And I think on the consumer side, we need more curious consumers. So asking how that product was, produced, what the raw material, where the raw material comes from. And again, going back to your actually opening kind of statements, how you learned from the winemakers where that wood was coming from. It's kind of like going back there, like trying to understand what goes into this product that we all put on, every day, actually.
Yeah. Actually, it's very interesting what you're saying, because they were even, imagine a winemaker in California saying that I want the wood from this forest in France, and it's actually where I'm from. So, because it's the best oak trees are growing in that forest. So and this is related to the global supply chain we have in the denim industry, that we could say, I want to have this fabric from Pakistan or from India, or with these indigo colors, shades. So
for me, for example, like if I wanted to say to the end consumers or people who are not from this industry, easiest way to, I think, start circularity is to think about end of life, which is garbage. Now, as I move to Bodrum, and taking trash out is the main problem, because we don't, it's not easy. And we need to acknowledge that taking garbage, taking care of it is not easy. So you have to figure out. So we give some of our, for example, food waste to our dear famous chickens.
Yeah.
And then we will find other ways to think about, for boxes, we have other solutions for boxes and stuff. So for consumers and who are not from the industry, I think thinking about end of life of a product really helps you to understand about circularity, because you have to find a solution about it. We have this question for you, and I was thinking about it. So if a pair of jeans could be reincarnated, for me, I think they should really be podcasts, because I think they have, as you told, your genes are living with you throughout your whole life. So for me, they are carrying those stories and memories to get with you. So I wanted them to be podcasts. That's a good idea. And what would you want them to be?
I would like to be, since I'm from the manufacturing industry, I would like to be, they become flags, and on each entrance of the factory, you would have a flag made out of all the denims that people work on, our clients, and they bring them back, and we do a huge flag with a message that circularity is possible.
Shall we go into this and that? Sentimental stains or spotless second life?
Stains.
Which one stains? Tagged with a story or tagged with a QR code?
It's a story.
One perfect loop or multiple imperfect cycles?
Multiple imperfect cycles.
Vintage with mystery or recycled with transparency?
Recycle with transparency.
A pair that lives 100 years or 10 lives in 10 years?
The reality would be 10 lives in 10 years, but 100 years is what I hope for.
And I have the true or false questions. Every pair of jeans deserves a second life.
Yes.
Circularity is cool, not complicated.
Yes.
You buried a pair of jeans in your closet just in case.
Because of sentiments, maybe, yes.
Circularity sometimes feels like chasing your own very stylish tail.
Yes,
If G's could talk, they ask for a second chance.
definitely.
Yes. Approved.
So, Romain, it was so great to have you. It was a pleasure to have you. Such a great discussion. And it's very intriguing to listen to your amazing story. And we look to hear more in the coming days for sure.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Çok teşekkür ederiz.
Teşekkür ederiz. Nice to have you here. Kanalımıza abone olmayı tabii ki unutmayın kapatmadan önce. Bir de her bölümde biz size bir soru sormaya ve yorumlara katkıda bulunmanızı istedik. Bu seferki sorumuz da aslında eğer bir kişisel eşyanızı geri dönüştürseydiniz ya da reenkarne etseydiniz diyelim, onun ne olması, hangi kişisel eşyanızı geri döndürmek isterdiniz diye de soru bırakıyorum.
Lütfen onu alta yazınız. Teşekkür ederiz. Bay bay.